Welcome to Suburban Warrior, the podcast that will impact, inspire, and empower you to transform your mindset and become the badass warrior that you are. I'm your host and fellow warrior, Chrissy Pfeiffer, former clinician and corporate marketing exec turned multi-passionate entrepreneur, performance and life coach, and mom to 4 not-so-little warriors. Each week, I will bring you honest conversations with inspiring guests to share their stories of resilience, optimism, success, and simple yet effective strategies so that you transform your thoughts and change your behavior to get the results you want in your life. You will be empowered to take action, warrior up, and believe in you. Let's do this. What's up, warriors? Welcome back to another episode of Suburban Warrior Podcast. I am your host, Chrissy Pfeiffer, and once again, I'm joined today by another incredible suburban warrior, here to share her story with us. And in hearing her story, you will not only learn all about her, but also the simple strategies, habits, and mindset that it takes to live your most joyful and fulfilled life. And that's what I want for everyone. Suburban Warrior is a mindset that I want for all of you to adopt to up-level your life and live with passion, purpose, and personal power. Because really, that is what it's all about. It's our personal power. We all have the power within us to do anything we want. If we truly believe it, use that power, and it all starts with our mindset. So today, my guest is the incredible Jane Winchester. She is the founder of Jane Winchester Jewelry and the mom of 2 plus 3. She has an incredible, busy and blended family. And Jane founded Jane Winchester Jewelry just 2 years ago, after 12 years at Lily Pulitzer and 20 years in the fashion industry. Jane creates coin jewelry and charms with incredible meaning behind each piece. Welcome, Jane. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me, Chrissy. This is so fun. I know it sounds cliche, but honored to be asked. I love sharing kind of the path that I've taken because I don't think it's very conventional. And so many people think things have to go a certain way. For me, they certainly didn't. And it has turned out for the best. So I love sharing that.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I love that you're willing to share because I think, I haven't heard your full story yet. And that's why, like I said, selfishly, I'm so excited to hear the backstory behind the incredible jewelry. So selfishly, I'm really excited to hear your story, but I know that our listeners can all really benefit from hearing it as well because, we all have that little piece within us that is like everyone else. And it's only through sharing that we can really learn what everyone else went through. So we know we'll get into the jewelry and how incredible it is in a little bit because it is absolutely incredible. And I'm obsessed with it because I love the meaning behind it. But let's go back because I know you were at Lily Pulitzer and you've been in the fashion industry for 20 years. So I would love to know a little bit about you and how you kind of went from the corporate world to creating your own business.
That's big, and I've done it a couple times. So
wow, okay.
Part of the story, well, one of the fun parts, I think. So I've really been an East Coast gypsy my whole life. Born in New Hampshire, grew up in Augusta, Georgia, sent to boarding school in 8th grade in Massachusetts, went back down to Florida for college. So like ricocheted up and down the East Coast. So I think I've always had a real sensibility of like a full East Coast vibe. I love New England. I love the South. I've lived in all of those places. So that gave me a great, I think, foundation. And after college, I was an art history major. I literally remember at graduation, I thought, holy smokes, I got to get a job. And so I literally was deciding between going to teach scuba diving in Costa Rica, P.S. I didn't scuba dive, or going to New York City. So I went to New York City. That was a good thing. And I got a job at a company called Adrian Vittadini, and I was in production. So I learned my first job. I learned how to make things in factories. And it was mostly knitwear, and it was in Peru and Italy. But, my boss was amazing. Every day I was working on creating product. I mean, I was a baby. So I saw this girl reading magazines all the time, and I thought, whatever her job is, I want that to be my job. And turned out she was in public relations. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go find a job in PR. So my next job after production at Adrian Vittadini was in public relations at Calvin Klein. And there it was spectacular. I worked under a woman named Jan Sharkansky, who's the new CEO of J. Crew. I really learned about branding and the power of brand and how consistency is so important. I was there for a few years and then did PR at Barney's New York. So luxury fashion, really understood what that market was all about. And one day, that things like this, you'll hear me repeat. One day I decided to start my own accessory line because all the fashion editors at the time were carrying LL Bean bags, and they had their monogram on. They were so inexpensive. And I thought, I'm going to make LL Bean bags but a very fancy version and sell them at Barney's or Bergdorf's.
I actually love that because I just want to go back to something you said. You said so much is going to be one day I decided. And I just love that thought from a mindset perspective, right? Because, we have thoughts. Everyone has thoughts all the time. Like, wouldn't it be great to do this? Or wouldn't it be great to do that? Or, literally we could be just driving in the car and something pops in our head and we get an idea. And sometimes we really think about it for longer. Maybe we really work it out. We even write it down. And then usually we just forget it, move on, and we go back to our life, right? And I think the one day I decided, that is the key. That is like the little intuition. It's the voice in our head saying, hey, I have an idea, or hey, you might be really good at this, or you know what, you might not be so happy right now, so maybe you should explore this. So I love the fact that you said that and then you act on it. And, it sounds like that's been a pattern over your life. And whether it's a pattern, mine is very similar as well. But I do think no matter if that's a pattern in your life or not, that's something you can start doing at any time when you start getting.
True.
Yeah.
So true. And I didn't really, actually, until I just said that, I didn't realize that it is a pattern for me, but I do take action. So, the second I said, I got it in my head that I was going to make these bags. And I went to the information booth in New York City, the big needle and thread, and they printed out factories in New York that made bags. This was before Google. I'm so embarrassed to say that, but I just went and found someone to make them, and kind of that led me on this fabulous path of 8 years of an accessory line. I was sold in 100 stores, Barney's, Bergdorf, Spendels. It was all wholesale, which was pretty tough to be profitable, move production overseas to China. I was a kid. I had 2 kids then. I just started building my family at that time. So I was pretty fearless. And it was really that company that led me to Lily Pulitzer. So Lily, after 8 years of having my accessory line, I got a call basically from Lily Pulitzer saying they wanted to launch accessories, and would I move from New York City to Pennsylvania to help them launch their accessory collection. And, after having my own company for 8 years, and I think this is where I think people sometimes look back and think, oh, well, did I fail at that? I closed that company. But it was absolutely the best next step for me with a young family, going back to work in a corporate environment and get a paycheck and get healthcare. It was fantastic. And it was my chance to move out of New York City, which I love, but it was time with young kids, and come here to, I just think the Main Line is the most spectacular area on the planet to raise a family. So it really was not, I think what people think, oh, you should, make $1 billion with your company and sell it or whatever. but my company led me to the next job that really set me up for the next 12 years of happiness and stability and incredible growth.
And was that, I just want to interrupt you real quick. So was that your mindset at the time too? Like, was that your thought process, or were you upset with yourself, or did you feel failure? At the time, were you hoping
I
like,
was bummed.
yeah, bummed.
I was bummed because I had a partner and we were both building our families at that time, and she was not contributing at the same level, but we had this 50-50 partnership, and that really didn't work out, and I had no way out. So at the time I thought, oh my gosh, I've worked on this for 8 years. I think I could I could really build it into something, but I had kind of half of it wasn't jiving, like we weren't moving in the same direction. So at the time, I was pretty bummed, but in hindsight, it was literally the best thing that could have happened to me. So there was a lot of fate mixed in there that helped. And I think my intuition was good, but I didn't know that the people at Lily would be as wonderful and that they would take care of me and help build me into literally who I am now. That the time that they spend on developing, the leadership and the people that work there is, I just think it's unheard of. They're, very high integrity, good people. So I didn't know that. I mean, I could have been going.
You didn't know it.
Horrible place ever. Yeah,
exactly. And that's great, because really, what at the time may have been perceived as a failure, in time, you realize it's not failure. It's really just lessons, and it's growth. And it's really what is meant to happen to get you to the next step and the next level of your growth. And I think so many people experience failures and, really get down on themselves and have this fixed mindset of, okay, well then I'm just not good enough, or I can't do it, instead of having that growth mindset that it's not a failure, it's a lesson. And whatever you're working towards, it's just not yet. You're just not, maybe, building the $1 billion business or whatever and selling it. And, it's just not yet. You're still working towards it, but there's another path that you have to take that you just didn't realize at the time.
Agreed. And I will go on with my story, but first I have to say that is like really summarizes where I am now. So I'm 47. I can look back and see how the mistakes that I have made have truly made me who I am today. So I have Post-its on my wall, and if I don't get rejected enough, and I put the Post-its of where I've been rejected and where I've gotten things. If I don't have enough rejections, then I say to myself, I'm not trying hard enough. Like, I need more no.
Ooh, I love that. I love that.
Gosh, that is easier said than done.
It is. It
really does take time to get to that place. For me, it was literally 47 years. So
yeah. Totally. But that's the thing. If someone is listening to this and they're 37 or 27, right? The quicker you can get and build that mental strength and, instead be grateful for the no's, because the no's are just hopefully building you up to fight more for it or to ask more. And instead of looking at those no's and being like, I'm not going to, okay, well, that person doesn't want it, so I'm just not going to ask anyone else. That's really the key. It's about learning that those no's are truly a gift and be grateful for them.
Yeah.
So, I think that, and I agree, I'm 45, and I think that I'm in that same space as well, where, you're going to hear no's. You're going to hear people who might not support you in your business. You're going to hear people think that what you're doing doesn't make sense or think that it's silly. It's just about not, caring so much about what all of those people think, and realizing that it's what you want. And in order to get what you want, you have to put yourself out there. You have to put your product out there, your business, whatever it is. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, putting yourself out there as a confident staying-home mom, it's putting yourself, no matter who you are, out there and being confident in it.
Yeah. So so I came to this area and worked for Lily. My first job there, I was the senior designer of accessories, footwear, and jewelry. So that's where jewelry comes into.
Okay.
But I have always been an artist and a painter. And, Lily Pulitzer's famous for their print team and their fabulous prints. And I thought, these are the most wonderful people I've ever seen in my life. Like, they had a whole team of artists, and all I wanted to do was become a part of that team somehow.
Yeah.
So I became director of the print department. I was always saying to my boss, well, I think I should take over this department. I think I should do this next. So I kind of said, I would really love to manage the print department. So I was the director of print and also designing accessories. That evolved into a role as fashion director. So that was really like 8 years of my Lily career was on the design side of things. And then there was a vacancy in marketing. They had not had a VP or director of marketing for years. And I said, you know what I think I should do? I think I should go put myself out there. I've always done design and marketing. So I created this entire presentation for the CEO and president of the company saying, I really wanted to be a vice president by the time I was 40. So I think I was like, 39 in a couple months. And I said, I need this job. I will, I adore this brand. Let me take it to the next level. And that happened. So I started as vice president. I was promoted over time to senior vice president of marketing. So I got to do all of the photo shoots, all of the direct mail, all of the digital marketing. The Target for Lily Pulitzer was my baby and put that together. So it really, my entire career, if I look back, has been learning how to make things, like kind of figuring it out, design and marketing, which at a certain point you think, okay, I got to put this back together for my own brand. And, I think the other thing that really led me to starting my own company was at that point, my youngest was in middle school. And I realized that I had been working my tail off and not home, with someone helping me at home the entire time. And kind of inverted to the way most people do it, where they spend more time at home when the kids are young. I was like, okay, I'm going to find a way to spend more time, as my kids go through really tough stuff with middle school and high school. So it was actually at the Women's March in DC, the first one. I brought my girls down and I said, okay, this is it. I just felt so much life there, surrounded by all these women feeling empowered and proud. And it really, I'm not going to say that it didn't have to do with politics. What it had to do with is I am going to make something. Like, I was so inspired. I'm going to create something. I'm going to inspire my own kids. So at this point, I'd remarried and had 2 of my own and 3 stepkids. I'm going to show them that it can be done, that you can build a company from zero. So, I still get emotional, like looking back now, because I just looked at all of these fabulous women in pink and my own girls. And I was like, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to build it from scratch and I'm going to make the product in the United States. All of these things so much easier said than done.
Yeah, I know. I love that. No, but I love that the inspiration just came to you one day. And what's important to me, what I hear too, is when you explain that is it's not just, I want to do this and I'm going to do this. And you had a why. You had the why behind it, and you had the why because, you wanted to show your kids that you could do it. And I think that every decision, every goal, every dream, when it's powered by a why, is so much more impactful than when it's just a what and, what you want to get out of it. So, I think that's an incredible point to just, point out that, a lot of people who might feel lost or trying to figure out what it is that they want to do, figuring out their why behind it and why they want to do it is so important, because when you know your why, you will get out of bed early. You will make that call. You will go for more no's because you're driven by that why. So
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. So let me ask you this. So, okay, so then you had this revelation that you wanted to do this. And how did you figure out for you that it was jewelry? Since you
Okay.
were
So I've
accessories, how did you
always
figure?
loved jewelry. I mean, it wasn't a no-brainer, but there are a few things. So again, during my time at Lilly, the president and CEO it was like they went to Harvard Business School. I felt like I graduated with a degree in building a business. So I thought I want it to be jewelry. I know I can make this product in the United States. And that was important to me because I had been making product overseas, both for when I had my own brand and at every company. I'd been making product overseas forever. I really wanted to bring my energy to creating things here with craftsmen here. That was very, very important to me. It's small. I know that sounds crazy, but shipping is easy. Traveling is easy. There's a convenience to jewelry that is different than others. And I also knew from past experience that it's a high margin business. So you can be very profitable in the jewelry space. So a lot of that made sense. But the first thing I did was write a business plan. And I never would have done that. I didn't have a business plan for my first business because I didn't know how important it was. But at Lilly, every year they did a complete 3-year plan, and everybody in the company really worked on it. So the first thing I did for Jane Winchester was write the business plan, and that really helped me flush out what year 1 should look like, what I wanted to happen in year 2, how was I going to make sure that this is a business that would float? And that's one of my biggest, so just to kind of balance out my having these ideas and going for them, a little bit of that seems like on the fly, but I back it up with a plan. And that's really important, I think. So now, again, with age being hindsight 2020, I feel like I really kind of missed out on that with my first business. And one of the keys to success truly is having a roadmap. It doesn't mean you can't change it, but you kind of force yourself to think about, how's this going to go down and what are the milestones so that I know if I'm being successful or not. I have to have monthly sales goals. If you don't, then you're kind of like, oh, was that a good month? I'm not sure.
Exactly. Exactly. No, absolutely. I mean, writing it down, having a plan, having your goals written down, your dreams written down, and the strategy behind a business plan is huge. I mean, it is everything. And to your point, I mean, it truly is a roadmap. And I think sometimes people are fearful of writing it down because then I guess number one, you could be set up to fail because if you don't meet the goals that you set for yourself, then you could quote unquote have been a failure. And I think some people maybe don't really know even where to start with a business plan. But this day and age, you could, I was in marketing for 10 years. Same thing. We did brand plans every single year. We mapped out every single thing that we had to do. But this day and age, you can literally go to Google and and print out a business plan template and sit and fill it out, fill in the blanks. And it is just, it could be a roadmap. It's your guide. But like you said, it is a plan. It is something to help you start so that when you start to stumble, you can go back to that plan and remember what should I do next? Or what is plan B when this didn't work out, and pivot if needed, because you're going to pivot all the time when you're building a business. You have to. It's not always step A, B, C, and everything just goes perfectly, right? The plan is just set to help you with that. So I think that's an amazing point to make. And so
business plan, which was so eye-opening, and it helped me, to your comment about the why, it helped me really add to the why. So I knew that for my life, I wanted to show my girls, the kids, that you could build something from scratch. I also knew I wanted more flexibility so I could be with them more. But then as I wrote the plan, I didn't want to create just another piece of jewelry. I really wanted to create something that people connected with. And that came from the aha moment of being surrounded by all these fabulous women. I am like all about women succeeding. Like literally, I was just like, I want people to adore these pieces and for them to really celebrate moments in their life, both positive and tough stuff that they learn from, that is something that they can physically hold on to help give them strength, to help give them joy. So that's where the true meaning came from for the brand. Like that's the soul of the brand.
The soul of the brand. I love that. It is. And when I first saw the jewelry, of course, the jewelry itself, the charms, the necklaces, I mean, it is just fabulous. It is gorgeous, gorgeous looking. I have a few pieces. I love to wear them. I love how they look. They're stunning. However, it truly is the meaning behind the charms that for me, when I looked at your website, that I just fell in love. And that is because, I'm a huge believer in what I call mindset reminders for me, right? And for clients, and, I post it on my blogs and Instagram and stuff. Like I have my Suburban Warrior like merch, my shirts that I wear. I have, necklaces that are engraved with sayings like show up and words that are meaningful to me. And when I wear them, it's all about that. It is a mindset reminder, but it's like an instant empowerment. When I put it on, I feel great. It really just brings up my energy and puts me in a space where I feel like I'm ready to take on the world. And when it doesn't, it also like, if I'm going about my day and something goes wrong, or, I'm pissed off about something, who knows? Because we're all there. But I can look at it and it instantly brings me to the present.
Helps you rebound a little faster.
Rebound, exactly. Yeah. It's like a little slap in the face reminder of, to remind yourself like, okay, get your head in the game, be present, be happy, be joyful, be grateful, and I think when obviously all of your charms are words and they have meaning, and that meaning is different for every single person, but it's starting with the meaning behind them. So I think that they're beyond just being gorgeous and fabulous. I just love the meaning behind each and every piece.
So I started with the meaning. I started with, and I remember so clearly obviously summer, like love was a no-brainer. But then I was taking a walk with my sister-in-law, and her aunt had just died. And she said, you should design a coin for when people lose someone. And I thought, oh my God, is that too much? And then I was like, no, I want a coin to remember my dad, that I'll think of him. And then, I got divorced and it was terrible and I was devastated. And I thought, oh my God, I want to give all the people who experienced something like that something to hold on to. So it really is like a mix of, I don't want to say good and bad, but like positive things that happen and challenges that happen in your life. But I started with the meanings and I was like, these are the things that I feel like I want to give people something to hold on to. And then I started drawing them, which was so great to kind of match up what was in the coin with the words that I had written for what they would mean. Now, if you want to talk about messing up, so like production was really hard at first. So, me sketching and drawing, coming up with the words like, this is on me, I can do this. I have been making jewelry in factories for a long time, but I wanted to make them in the United States. I hadn't done that before. I found someone down in Philly to make them. Awesome family-run factory. We got the samples to a certain point, and then 2 weeks before our launch event, they were like, we can't make these for you. I was like,
oh my gosh. What? You're like, what?
I actually think I cried for 2 weeks straight. Like I was so wrapped up in it. And I thought, I've worked so hard to get to this point, and I've sent out invitations to the launch event, and I have nothing. Like I actually have nothing.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
So I found someone, then I very quickly pivoted, found someone in New York to make them. I really wanted to make things out of recycled brass and plate them, blah, 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 blah. Everything turned green. I just like everything, I felt like doors were slamming in my face. Like I was really fighting for it every day, and it was not going my way.
Yeah. And that's hard, right? Because you're like 2 weeks from launch. Here you are. You're ready to launch this business. You've just done, all of this work for months and months and months, I'm sure, designing, planning, working with production,
And spending money. Like, I
spending money.
making money. And all of a sudden I wasn't getting a paycheck and I was spending money. It hit to the core of my self-esteem.
Yeah. And at that point, it hit to the core of your self-esteem. And I'm sure you asked yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I enough? Is this the right path for me? Like, all of those questions of self-doubt come up, and it really takes a lot of work to keep going. So what do you think made you keep going after that?
Well, I knew I could figure it out. I think that was at the base of it, that I knew I could if I looked at the entire situation, it was too overwhelming. If I looked at bits of it, I knew I could figure it out. I also have an incredibly supportive husband who is my partner in this business. And, he was like, you've got this. And he said, look at your track record. You have succeeded over time. Don't let this 2 weeks or these green coins or whatever fail you, because it is a moment in a very long history of determination and success. So that really helped a lot to first of all, take the giant problem and break it into pieces. And then kind of the other side of that is look at my whole life and career. And I hadn't failed every 2 weeks my entire life. Like, I had built successful things and made mistakes and rebounded and come around. So the path was a positive one overall, and getting caught up in these days that weren't great shouldn't derail like the path that we were on for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, plus. And that is, again, easier said than done. But having someone in your life that can say to you those two things, like, don't let the small stuff kill you, and look at the big picture, which is funny.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. You have been successful over time. I love that, because, that's what it is about. It's about over time. It's not about one day, 2 weeks, a month, one failure, 6 months, whatever. Everybody has periods of their life where, it's just not good,
Right.
And so, but when you think about your track record, or you're ready to, if you want it bad enough, you're going to figure it out. So obviously you figured it out, because
we launched, and I will say the main line has supported me so incredibly. So everyone bought the things and that didn't last, and hopefully we've replaced them all by now. And I just woke up every day with the mindset of, I was overwhelmed. It was a lot, but I woke up with the mindset of, every day I'm going to move this brand forward. Every day I'm going to work on it. The consistency in working on it every day. It sounds so simple, but I knew that if I did that, I would outwork the people on either side of me, because I would go at it every day. And
I love that.
Every day, and I'm not going to skip a day. Whatever. Of course, I rest and
of course. But I love that, because I think if there's anyone listening out there that's like looking to start their own business, or has this idea for a product or a service or whatever it is they want to do, I think to your point, even when you said, oh, I want to build a business, and I want to build a jewelry business. Oh my God, it sounds so overwhelming. Like, where do you start? How do you market? What is your product? Where do you make it? How am I going to sell it and produce it and market? Whatever. It's so overwhelming. But it all starts with these baby steps, right? The brick by brick, the step by step, and you figure out what it is you do, and you just do something every day. Even if it's something very small, it's one phone call a day. If it's 10 minutes a day, it's the consistency in your action to keep you going. So being consistent is really what it's all about when you're working towards building something, or working towards a goal, whether it's a business goal, a weight goal, a relationship goal, career goal. It's about being consistent with it.
And that's where the business plan and having a general roadmap really help too, because when you're overwhelmed and you're like, okay, I just need to do this every day, kind of having that plan to say, okay, today I'm going to focus on, making better product or finding a store to sell my product or building the website. But like you could kind of look at the plan and prioritize how to spend your time so that it was effective. Now, I will say also that first year was challenging because, and this is going to sound spoiled, but it is worth saying out loud. I had worked out of the home and had help in the home for a really long time. All of a sudden, I was starting a business and also doing all the laundry and picking up the kids with no help at home. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate that sounds the way it does, but that was an adjust. And I wasn't making any money. I couldn't go shopping.
Right.
Just like my entire world turned inside out, and balancing like making dinner, doing laundry, picking the kids up, driving them all over the place, and also moving the brand forward every day. That was a huge adjustment too that I did not make.
Huge. And like you said, that's the balance between being a mom and having your own business, because you're doing everything. And now that you're on this, it's great when you own your own business because you have the flexibility. But you have the laundry, you have dinner, you're picking up the kids, driving them here, driving them there. So you're fitting in all of your business and all of your work in around it. I mean, how do you work with that? Like, are you just really good at managing your time? I know for me, it's about priorities.
Yeah. Well, I think that I am at my best when every day kind of has the same pattern, and I have times that I am, a homemaker, times when I'm focused on being a mom, and times when I'm working on the business. So having the business run from home was complicated. We just signed a lease on our office and showroom that we're moving into in 2 weeks. So
yay, so exciting.
It was 2 years to get there, but that's great. Awesome. Like, we had the business in the guest room. I knew it would be a success when we had to move it into the living room.
Hey, it's building, baby. It's building step by step.
Now 1 year. So first year we were in the guest room. Second year we were in the living room. Now third year we'll be in a space. And that will allow for a little bit more of the separation, which I think will be very helpful because I'm a neat freak. I feel like I have to clean the kitchen before I go into the living room, which is the office, to, ship out the next product. So I need a little bit of space from that. So I try and make every day look kind of the same during the week. And it's really important for me to take my daughter to school and pick her up. So it all kind of revolves around those bookends. So get her to school. Also, I have to work out or else my brain doesn't work properly. So I get her to school and then I work out. And while I'm working out, I actually think about and plan the most essential things that I need to get done that day. Or, for instance, thinking about this podcast on Friday, I'm speaking to a class at St. Joe's, kind of, you got to give your brain some time to think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The thinking is huge.
Huge. So for me,
important.
It's workout. And then I get to work. And sometimes I'm still in my workout clothes. And, I really work hard until, 2:50 when I go pick my daughter up. And now she's got an after school job. So I take her to her job and then I can start kind of working again until I pick her up before dinner. But it's like kind of giving those chunks of time so that I don't become too splintered everywhere. I think the other thing that I really learned is, in the first year I had a hard time with this because I couldn't quite balance it all. I just want to have a good day every day. I want to have fun with it. Like, I'm not going to spend my whole morning beating myself up that I'm not working because I'm driving Tiki to school and working out. Like, right. I'm going to have a great time doing that. And then I'm going to dive into work and have a great time doing that. I did kind of, I think, struggle at first with the voices in my head kind of telling me I should always be doing something else.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. It's like constantly that guilt of, when you're working, you should be with your kids. And when you're with your kids, you should be working. And maybe if I'm working, I'm not working enough or I'm not doing enough. And I agree. I think I feel the same way. And again, I don't know if it's part of age and the wisdom that comes with age. But I also think for me, a lot of it is my mindset now. And because I do work at it. I mean, those voices come in my head all the time still. I am just a lot better at saying, nope, not today. That's not the story I'm telling myself today. I'm going to the gym. I'm working out. I'm doing what I like, and same, like, my priority, I love my job and I love working, but my priority is being there for my kids right now. And that priority is going to change as they get older, of course. But, it's not letting yourself tell yourself that story. And that's not easy because
it's so hard.
It's so hard, but it's work. But that's all part of the mindset, development, and really knowing when that voice creeps in and just saying, not today.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to have a great day. And I'm going to have a great day working out. I have a great day working. I'm going to have a great day when I pick up my kids. Because let's be honest, I mean, I'm in the car half the time, like many days from like 3 o'clock, sometimes till 8, 9 o'clock at night, running around. I mean, I'm popping back into my house, but I mean, I'm running kids all over the place. And that's not always fun. Mm-hmm. But then, I tell myself, like, I'm so lucky and grateful that I get to do this. And in between, when there's kids not in my car, I'm listening to podcasts or I'm listening to a book on tape. And and to your point, I'm thinking about, what it is I want to do. But more than anything, just being happy and enjoying being in that space and being present.
Like enjoying the ride. Because I think when I was younger, it was all about like the next destination.
Yes.
But I really want to enjoy the ride.
Well, let me tell you, Jane, you are on the ride of a lifetime, girl, because your business and your jewelry are just, I mean, I know it's been super successful since it's taken off 2 years ago. And, the jewelry just speaks for itself. When you look at it online and, oh my gosh, the pieces, they come beautifully packaged in your gorgeous print, which is just, I mean, it is really meaningful, not just the actual jewelry itself, but the entire package it comes in. And your passion behind what you do is so evident in your product. So I just want to thank you so very much for being here today and sharing your story with us, because it is an awesome story to share with all of our listeners. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
I feel like we could do this all the time. I don't even want it to stop.
I know. Well, I feel like there's so many more questions I have for you. So maybe we will have to bring you back on and we'll just focus on production and marketing, because I feel like there's so many other things that I want to get into that brain of yours about that our listeners could really learn from. So we're going to have to do this again for sure.
Anytime.
Oh my God, I love it. So, okay. So tell us and the listeners where they can find your amazing jewelry.
Well, we are sold online at janewinchester.com. Awesome. You should follow us on Instagram at Jane Winchester Jewelry. And if you're on the main line, in the mainline area, we're sold at Menagerie in Eco Village.
Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. Well, you heard where you can check Jane's information and jewelry out, and please check it out, because I promise you will not be disappointed. And as always, you can find me at ChrissyPiper.com, Suburban Warrior on Instagram, and you can join our Facebook community, Suburban Warrior. It's a group on Facebook. Join, check it out. It's an awesome community of women. It's a great girl tribe, as we know is so important. So thank you so much, Jane, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.